Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Craig here. Today I'm going to do a review on this battery. The wife came home yesterday with a box for me, and inside was this. So it's a 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour lithium ferrophosphate. It was supplied by Gokwh. So they reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked if I'd test this battery for them. So it's Gokwh Technology Co Limited, and that's their website. So feel free to have a look at that if you want to. Came packed pretty good. Yeah, look, real thick foam, protected all the way around. I was surprised that there was no paperwork or manual inside the box, but I quickly realised QR code scanner on the side here. Scan that, go to their website, and you can download all the paperwork and the specs and everything on the battery. Also another QR code reader here, which is for an app. So downloaded the app, pretty easy to connect, had no issue. Gives you, state of charge, cells, minimum, maximum, yeah, all sorts of information there if you want to have a look at that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use this cell information because I kind of like that. It's the first time I've had a battery with Bluetooth in it other than the Victron smart batteries. So yeah, got it on at the moment, putting 40 amps or 38 amps into it. I'll charge it up. I'm going to do the honest Craig's no bullshit video on this battery. So I'll charge it, discharge it a couple of times at different C ratings, pull it apart, and I'll let you know what's inside. Hey, maybe this is a good battery. At this point, I have no idea. Okay, so I've started the discharge test on the Gokwh 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour lithium ferrophosphate battery. I started it a little while ago, nothing really exciting to see. The battery is now down to 68%. We've consumed 31 amp hours and we're drawing about 23 amps from the battery. So just a bit over 0.2C discharge, which, that's good enough for me. Just looking at the cell voltages on the app. So they're all around the same, within, 0.1 of a millivolt. So 3.29 to 3.28, that all looks good. Nothing exciting to see there. The app is saying 68% and the shunt is saying 67%. So I'm not really too worried about any of that. We'll keep running with this discharge test at the current rate and we'll come back shortly. While the battery's discharging, I just thought I'd run the temperature infrared gun over it. So 25 degrees at the terminal, absolutely perfect. 27 degrees at the negative. Going around the battery, 24, 25 degrees. Yeah, it's all completely normal, nothing to really worry too much about. No, that's great. Okay, 31% now remaining, 66 amp hours consumed. Saying we've got about an hour 13 to go at 24 amps with 12.88 volts. So that all looks fine to me. I don't really see an issue. Maybe a little bit short on the amp hours. Compared to the remaining capacity, a couple of amp hours short there, but that's okay. I don't really have an issue with that. So look at the cells, no problem there. 32%, yep, 32% remaining there and 31% there, so that's fairly consistent. So about an hour to go, hour 15 to go, so we'll come back then. Okay, still going with this test. We're down to 2% now on the battery, which I think is, 4% on the BMS. So a little bit of deviation there, but I'm not too worried about that. And we're discharged at 93.7 amp hours, still sitting at 12.37 volts, which I'm really happy about. Obviously the 2% doesn't match the 93.7, but that's okay because we always know that we're going to get a little bit more out of it. The 4% is a little bit closer, Let's check out the cell voltages. Okay, still very close. I think, you know, I reckon that's pretty good. So still way over 3.1 volts per cell. So we'll keep going with the test. I'll come back shortly. I'm going to cut off now because this could be another 5 or 10 minutes. And just checking the terminal temperature. Yeah, hasn't really budged. 23 degrees, 25 degrees, 98.6 amp hours, 11.27 volts. Cell number 4 is starting to drop now, 2.75. We're going to stay with this to the end. Now this battery, I looked up the specs when I found them, and I discovered that it's down to 10 volts, basically the same as every other battery that I test. And I've cut it down to a bit over 0.2 C. Let's just stay with it. .99 amp hours. So I'm calling that a pass. 99 amp hours from a 100 amp hour battery at, you know, discharging at 27 amps now. Oh, cell number 4, 2.66. That's so we're going to see a low cell voltage disconnect. If it's 10 volts, then it'll be 2.5 volts per cell. So this is going to cut out at 2.5 volts on cell number 4. Let's keep watching it. 99.3 amp hours. .86 volts, 10.85. 2.59 on cell number 4. 99.4 amp hours. Okay, get ready guys. Stay with it. .50, and there will be a slight delay on that, so it'll be set with, you know, whoa, hang on a second, 2.46. No, I'm not liking this now. That should have cut by now. 2.44, 2.42. Whoops, sorry about that. 2.39, 38. This is a problem, guys. This should have cut out. 2.33. Oh, I'm not liking this at all. Okay, we made the 100 amp hours. 2.27. Wow. No, this is actually getting into danger zone. I'm not liking this at all. 2.21. Okay, so wow. The cell voltage, under voltage protection must be set extremely low for us to get to that level. That should have cut out at 2.5 volts, not 2.2, or I think it was even lower. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the loads. I'm not sure how to describe this, because we got the 100 amp hours, but we got 100 amp hours with cell number 4 going down very, very low. And in my mind, that's not good. So the supplier of this battery needs to correct that, and we need to cut that off at 2.5 volts. Like, that's it, 2.5, absolute minimum. So it's been a few days since I've had a chance to come back to the Go kilowatt hour battery, but I thought I'd give it another discharge test at a higher C rate this time, and let's see how it performs before I pull it apart. I've also put the terminal fuse back on, or the marine fuse back on, as some people refer to them as. So I had a comment on the King's battery test that they believe that the heat was generated by the fuse, which will increase the heat slightly, but it wouldn't have got to that 75, 80 degree mark. There was definitely a problem with the inside of the battery, and I proved that. But I've just put this back on here just to show people that yes, the temperature will come up a little bit, but it won't come up anywhere near the King's battery did. I've charged everything back up to 14.6 volts. It's been sitting for days now. The interesting thing is I've reset all the shunts as well. State of charge, 100% on both items. Now you'll see that the cell voltages, cell number 4 is the lowest, and that's the one that went down to 2.2 volts, while cell number 2 is the highest. So it doesn't look like there's been any balancing while I've left this battery for days. So I'll turn the inverter back on now and we'll start the discharge test. Okay, so there we go. So we're going to pull what the cell voltages have done then. Yeah, so straight away they've all sort of come in line, which is what I expect happens. Okay, so it's settled now and we're doing it 63 amps. So we'll run this test at 63 amps. We'll see where we get to. We'll keep an eye on cell 4 and see what happens again on this discharge. Then I'll pull this battery apart and have a look inside. Okay, it's starting to drop quickly now. Let's keep an eye on it. .7 volts, 98.8 amp hours. I'm surprised to see that cell number 2 is now down to 2.55 volts, where cell number 4 is at 2.8 volts. So this should cut off at 2.5. 2.48, 99.6 amp hours. .40. So we've hit 10 volts now. .07 on the BMS, 9.71 on the shunt. And there you go, guys, 2.19 I've just seen on cell number 2. I don't like that, and it keeps doing it. To me, that's an issue. However, the battery does achieve just on 100 amp hours. So I'll disconnect the load, turn the inverter off. The cell under voltage protection has kicked in, which would have been at cell number 2 at 2.2 volts or 2.19 volts, whatever it went to. I'll do the teardown now on the battery, have a look inside, see how it's packed, determine the BMS and the cells, and we'll go from there. So I was just about to get out my hammer and chisel, and I've noticed these little plugs in the battery. So I've taken one out, and to my surprise, there's actually a Phillips head screw down in the hole. So I'll pull all these plugs out. I'll be able to undo the screws, and hopefully the cover will just lift off. So I've got all the screws out now, very painless. The plugs come out quite easy. And let's have a look. Oh, that come off easy. Okay, so really well packed. The nice EVA foam, which we're starting to see as a standard thing with these. 6 AWG on the positive. Terminals are all nice and tight. Double negative terminals. Okay, let's get it out. I'll come back in a minute. Okay, I'm back with the Go kilowatt hour battery. I've taken it out of its case. I tell you, it was packed in there really well. This was all glued, secure, in place. I had a hell of a time pulling it out of the case. I do, however, like the case with the screws in the top, so it is serviceable. Not that you could really service too much in here. You could possibly change the BMS, I guess. I'd say it's pouch cell, simply by the way the positive and negative terminals are. It's got AWG 6 cabling on it. To me, I think that's a bit light on. I only think that's good for about 70 or 80 amps. And it's got twin AWG 8s on here. Again, I think that's, you know, doubled up 70 to 80 amps. I put a Google translator across the text here, and it comes up as Jabata. So it's a Jabata 100 amp BMS with Bluetooth. Now, is this battery a fail because it went down to 2.2 volts in 2 of the cells? I can't definitively say yes or no on that. You guys tell me. I'd prefer if it cut at 2.5, but it didn't. So, is it a fail? I'm not sure, but it was well packed. It produced 100 amp hours. So there you go, guys. The Go kilowatt hour, 100 amp hour lithium ferrophosphate battery. So I've put the battery back together, the Go kilowatt hour battery, and connected it all back up now. Just putting a little bit of charge back into the battery because I don't like leaving the cell voltages down this low. So to sum up, I can't say that the battery failed because I saw 2.2 volts on the app. And the reason I say that, whether it's right or wrong, is because 95% of batteries on the market don't have the Bluetooth app and you don't see the cell voltages. So we're just charging them and discharging them blindly. And those batteries could quite possibly be going down to below 2.5 volts. So I'm going to have to give this battery a reluctant pass. And I say reluctant, it's because I know now in my mind that it went below 2.5 volts. But it's well packed. I have no idea how much it costs. Go to their website and check it out for yourself. I hope you enjoyed that review and tear down of the battery. I didn't pull it completely all the way down to expose the pouch cells. I didn't feel like there was anything more to achieve by doing that. So, yep, putting a little bit of charge back into this battery now. I'll keep it on the shelf. I'll probably use it for a few things. So, to me, I'm going to have to give it a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. There'll be more to come.